Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we are talking about hiring because America is hiring in record numbers. Unfortunately, we're hiring robots, and I, for one, welcome our new AI overlords. Now, here's what's going on. This is coming from CNN Business, and I think everybody should take notice of this. Now, here's what's up. Companies in North America added a record number of robots in the first 9 months of this year as they rushed to speed up assembly lines and basically struggled to add human workers. If you recall, we are going through the Great Resignation at the moment. Now, factories and other industrial users ordered 29,000 robots. That's 37% more than during the same period last year, valued at almost $1.5 billion. This is according to the Association for Advancing Automation. That surpassed the previous peak set at the same time in 2017, before obviously the global pandemic just upended everything. Now, the rush to add robots is part of a larger upswing in investment as companies seek to keep up with strong demand, which in some cases has contributed to the shortages of key goods. At the same time, many firms have struggled to essentially lure back workers displaced by the pandemic, and so they view robots as an alternative to adding human muscle to their assembly lines, not to mention the fact robots can work a lot longer and they don't complain. Now, robots also continue to push into more corners of the economy as well. Auto companies have long bought industrial robots. In fact, most of our cars that you and I drive are mostly assembled, at least the core parts, by robots. Very few things are hand-built. But in 2020, combined sales and other types of businesses surpassed the auto sector for the first time, and that trend continued into 2021 in terms of purchasing robots. In the first 9 months of the year, auto-related orders grew 20% to about 12,544 units, and orders on non-automotive companies expanded 53% to 16,355. So it's not just pigeonholed into the automotive industry. Everybody's getting these. And for example, there is Athena Manufacturing. They do metal fabrication and for other manufacturers in Austin, Texas, and they now have 7 robots, including 4 that they bought this year. They basically bought their first machine in 2016, and their owner basically said that robots have helped Athena respond to a surge in demand, including a 50% jump in orders for parts used by the semiconductor equipment manufacturers. The machines also allow Athena to move to an around-the-clock operation for the first time last year. The company employs 250 workers, but they've struggled to find workers to fill overnight shifts. So that is essentially the name of the game here. We've talked about automation before. We've talked about robots. I did a video on McDonald's replacing, workers in the drive-thru, where you're talking basically to the AI that's taking your order for the Big Mac or whatever you're getting. And that's essentially what we're talking about here. Essentially, robots really can work almost nonstop with very little maintenance. They don't need breaks. They don't have to go to the bathroom. There's no coffee. They're going to work at the same pace every time consistently, which therefore gives the logistics for the company the ability to say, yes, we can crank out this many units in this much time, always and consistently due to our robots with, let's say, monthly maintenance to update them, oil them, whatever it is. So this is something that's coming, and it once again begs the larger question of what do we do with a growing population? Once again, and I've mentioned this before, we're not stopping having kids. We're adding more to the population every single year. And so by virtue of that, how are we going to find jobs for all of these people? Do we have to talk about universal basic income? What does this look like? This is a conversation that we once again need to have. And what's compounding this is the Great Resignation, and people are leaving their jobs for many different reasons. Maybe they don't want to report back to an office because they enjoy remote. Maybe the government benefits have been so good that they've essentially said, hey, vacation until the benefits run out and come on back. I read job numbers that said about 4.4 million people actually quit their job in September of this year, which is a record number for people simply quitting their job. So it doesn't look like this is going to be slowing down anytime soon. And by virtue of that, many industries are having problems hiring good and qualified candidates, or they're overpaying for underqualified candidates and then having to spend money on top of that to actually train them to bring them up to speed, only on some occasions at least to have these people quit or move on or do whatever it is. And so I've seen it in cybersecurity. I've seen it in other businesses. I literally was in a meeting this morning where people were having hard times finding things like painters, and other things, or paralegals. And so this is a huge problem that we are going to see And I think it's not going anywhere soon. And by virtue of that, if companies start adopting robots and artificial intelligence and start taking away these tasks, they're simply going to hire less, which puts us in even more of a bind. So the question is, what do we do with the burgeoning population? And the less people that are participating in the labor force, that means the less revenue being generated that are going to turn around and spend it on the economy. The robot's not going to like punch a clock and then go buy dinner, or go get a mortgage, or go buy a car to drive the family around, because robots don't do that. So by virtue of that, it has this trickle down effect that essentially just sprinkles out or ribbons out into all sectors of the economy. And I think this is something that we need to talk about. And I feel like I'm one of the few that's actually talking about it at this level. And here we are. So I'd love to have the conversation. I'd love to hear what you think. But if you are right now basically resigned and are trying to figure out what to do, your competition may actually be something that doesn't sleep, that won't compete with you, that has no emotion, and that can work your job 24 hours a day to your 8. So think about that. I think it's something to consider, and we'll see what happens as we figure this out as humanity grows and has less jobs. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please stay private. Thanks, everyone.